Hi, my name is Anil Vanvari, and welcome to IndianTelevision.com's special tech series. I'm really very happy to have this wonderful young 40-year-old called Stype, who's the inventor of something which is being used across the world today for all kinds of productions, whether it's in the newsroom, whether it's sports, or whether it's using in commercials. And he's a very young man and extremely knowledgeable and an inventor to the core. Hi, Stipe. How are you?
Hi,
How are you?
hi, thank you. I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to this show.
I'm
So
really
let's
happy
get
to have you.
started.
Really, really happy to have you, Stipe. Because I've read so much about you, I've heard so much about you, and I've seen you at all the exhibitions, and your booth is always very crowded. You seem to have hit a real winner in terms of the solutions you offer. But coming back, my first question to you is, you began by developing this autofocus kind of a thing for a crane. That's the origin of the company which you really created into a large company now with 200 people. Uh, what else was available on the market at that stage when you started thinking about adapting something for the crane so that it could do autofocusing?
Okay, so when I started back in the days, how it all got started and how I got the idea. During college days, I studied electrical engineering and computing, and I also worked as a video editor. We were making music videos. It was sort of like fun during college and also a way to earn something. And then at the time, a friend of mine started making, who was also running that video company, started making a camera crane. And as they were making a camera crane and they made some prototypes, I noticed they were struggling a lot because they were not experienced crane operators. They were struggling how to control the camera because you have this long crane arm of like 5-6 meters. And then at the back of a crane where the weights are, you're holding the joystick, and somehow you would need to control well this camera by, touching the joystick. And it takes years of experience to do it well. And so I got the idea to use my expertise in programming, as I was studying that, and I was a programmer in high school, to create a device which would automate this process so that we could work with the crane and also some less experienced users. And I did some Googling. There was no company that was doing that at the time. And this friend of mine was enthusiastic about the idea as well. So we ordered some components, and I did some extra research also in my college, and I took it as my graduate work on college, this project. And so I started making it, and soon after, at the time I was like maybe 21, 22 years old. And it took a few years to arrive to some prototype. So we made this first prototype for his crane, and it worked really great. So, for example, you had the crane, you could program, okay, direct the camera to the flower, for example, and you just swing the arm, and it was a perfect shot, keeping the flower in the center of the image, which was whoever saw it was amazed. But there was another benefit of a product. So when we did those music videos, we were shooting most of them in front of a green screen. And so that's where I also got experience in keying, which later on was beneficial to make the world's most advanced chroma key. But the thing is, how we created backgrounds at the time. So it was more than 20 years ago now. We were creating backgrounds. Basically, we went to the uh, movie library and rented a few movies, and then we were looking at them watching those movies on fast forward ×2, 3, or whatever, and searching for nice backgrounds. When we spotted the nice background, we deleted the actors in Photoshop. We changed them so it wasn't noticeable anymore that those were from movies. And it was for the market we were at, it was operational business. But I was, as a video editor, I was always missing the 3D feel of those shots because they were all static. We could do some zooms, and some sort of movements, but the backgrounds were always from the same position of the camera, which was pretty static. So I was missing this possibility to move the camera and make those backgrounds in 3D, so that when the camera moves to the left, you could also see a different perspective of that shot. While making this product for a camera, for automatic aiming of the camera, I thought, well, since I already need to track the camera position now, I have all those encoders on a crane, so I could output the camera position somehow from this console, and perhaps people doing the same job as we are, creating music videos, maybe creating wedding videos or whatever, will want to, or commercials, will want to have a camera data in their software to create those effects in 3D. So it was supposed to be a very side feature of a product. Later on, it turned out the main driving functionality, and auto aiming was like something that made it look so much better.
Okay, you were telling me an interesting story about how you had posted it, you and your friend had posted it on the forum, and how somebody discovered it in Fox, Australia, and they were not a Japanese company was not able to deliver the tracking system on time and the crane on time, and that's where you came in, and that's how you really got your first order. Am I correct?
Yes, the story was like this. So basically, when this product was made for our crane, then we got someone gave me the idea, well, this product for auto aiming is fantastic, and it should be made as a kit so that you can use it on any crane to make it more so that it can easily reach the market. So the idea, I really liked the idea, and I started to make a product like that, which would be a kit for the world's most popular camera cranes. So the first crane that I made it for was a Stanton Jimmy Jib, which was at the time the most popular crane in the world, and also later on for CamMate and so on, techno cranes. So, and it was made so. And I even got the first job with augmented reality. It was in Lebanon for the holiday Ramadan. The show was called Haruf Banaluf, and the great thing about that project was that I was there for a month and collaborated with a Market Graph, which was a Holland company that made their own software for generating the graphics. And that's where I noticed the other side, the software side of this workflow and what their issues are. Their main issue was how to convert this data, like how to calibrate the lens. And during that job of 30 days, a lot of the features were developed because we had a time pressure. Everything needed to work in those 30 days. So I thought of a simple way to calibrate a lens. And we managed to do a show. It was a great show. With everyone was amazed in Lebanon. They never saw something like that. But the great thing about it was then we had an example that it can work, which was put on a website and so on. So it was a very early start, and I still, And there were still no orders from it. It was not a regular business. But then after some time, there was an email from Fox Sports. What was their situation? Their situation was they were planning a show with augmented reality, and they thought that they ordered already a system from Japan. And as the show was approaching, they issued an email to their local distributor and said, okay, we're just checking up. Is our system arriving on time? But then they got an answer saying like, oh, you still haven't signed the purchase order. After you sign it, then there is additional 4 to 6 months to deliver a system or something like that. And so then they quickly searched for an alternative, and they stumbled upon some of our posts that we wrote on some forums, how we have a system which can be used on a Jimmy Jib crane, and by coincidence, they had a Jimmy Jib crane in their studio. So it was a great way. They were still skeptical because it was at the time like maybe by a factor of 10 cheaper than the system they were about to order. So they wanted to test it down in person. So they sent me an email asking, can you make it work with WizRT? Said, yes, not a problem. And then they said, what do you say if we, because we were off, I was on one brochure, I was offering a refund if it doesn't work. So they suggested, what do you say if we fly over, try it out? If it doesn't work, we can return it immediately. So I said, yeah, not a problem. And that's how it started. I flew there. It was like a 30 hours flight. A little bit less. I went straight to their studio. I was feeling dizzy in my head, no sleep. But yeah, at the start it didn't work because I never worked with WizRT before. But I had in my pocket data sniffer, and we connected another device and saw the protocol, and then I could saw the protocol. There was a logic analyzer, and I adopted our protocol a bit, and it started working. Boy, they were amazed. It was such a joy to look at them, how they liked the system, and especially they were expecting to see, okay, we'll have virtual graphics, but when they all saw this auto aiming as well, they were really amazed because they also had some issues with camera operators and so on. So it enabled them to have also great camera shots as well as augmented reality graphics. So it was very beneficial. And there's one interesting fact about this first unit that we sold at Fox. It was 13 years ago and it's still operational. That console is still there, still working, like new.
Wow, amazing. I mean, hats
First, when
off.
they asked, what spares do we need? I was insulted. Said, you want spares for this? I went to my hotel that day, insulted and a bit angry. But then I said to myself, wait, okay, I'll make this first sale, but it's still, need money for the company, So then the second day I said, okay, you can buy these spares. So
Wow.
I realized, okay, it's also good for me. I will not be angry. And for them, it's a new system. They need some spares. So they also got some spares, for
Wow.
example. Yeah.
Great. So what spares did you provide them? I mean, what were the spares?
For example, I suggested to them to go some spares, some cables. For example, the lenses that they had a very tiny pin connectors with very tiny pins. And I thought, well, if they mishandle it or whatever, those pins can get bent. So I suggested some cables, and it was mostly the cables and maybe a spare motor or things like that. Yeah.
So you offer solutions for news, sports, live events, music video production, esports. Now, how do each of these solutions you provide? For instance, if you're doing
Mhm.
a live event, you need more scale, you need more processing power, because you're doing it in an open air place, possibly. So how do each of them differ? Each of the solutions and cost wise?
Okay, so when we talk about our camera tracking solutions,
Yeah.
that's our hardware product line. We also have software product line for virtual graphics, but now I'll focus on camera tracking solutions you mentioned. We have mechanical solutions. That is a solution for a crane that I described how we got started. Then we also have for a fluid head and solutions like that. But the other line of products are our optical tracking products like RedSpy and Follower. So when there is a big arena and you need a robust solution which can work anywhere, does not require any external markers and so on, or sports, or oftentimes our mechanical tracking solutions are used just because they are self-sufficient. When you work in a studio, not in a controlled environment where you can put markers on a ceiling, then usually RedSpy is used, and that is today in the world the most popular camera tracking solutions because it provides the best result. It's the gold standard to have the graphics that look so realistic because the camera tracking is so good that there is no drift or wobble of the graphics as the camera makes it smooth.
Okay.
And then we also have Follower. So RedSpy works, it is a small infrared camera that is attached to the studio camera. And that small tracking camera looks up to a ceiling. It flashes an infrared light, and on the ceiling there are small retroreflective markers which reflect back this light, and they look like white blobs on the dark image. So it's the tracking can be very robust because the markers are reliable. That it eliminates reflections that way, which would normally occur if you use pure image-based tracking and ambient lighting. And a Follower is our also optical tracking solution, but it's more like a motion capture system. You have many tracking cameras mounted up in a studio on a truss or on some static positions. And then we have beacons, active beacons mounted on a camera or on objects, people. So it can track both people, objects, and cameras in the same studio. And so Follower is like also optical tracking system, so a bit better camera tracking than mechanical, but it also enables tracking of people and objects, so we can have a pen and draw in 3D and stuff like that.
Mhm. You mentioned that your RedSpy is the gold standard. What makes it the gold standard?
The best camera tracking, simply. It's the system which can still provide the best and the most accurate camera tracking, the simplicity of setting it up, and reliability. So basically, when clients buy RedSpy, they buy it because they want to have peace of mind. They know the system will simply work. It will run for years and years without failing, and they can focus on other aspects of their show instead of keeping an eye on the camera tracking.
Okay. So, in terms of what are the innovations you brought in recently? I know we'll talk about AI later and Sora and all the other solutions that are coming up now, we'll talk about Unreal also later, and we'll also talk about Blender if you want to talk about it. But what are the innovations you brought into your hardware solution as well as your software solution?
Okay. So when it comes to hardware, the first invention was this StypeKit, which was a kit for camera cranes, which can provide auto aiming and augmented reality output at the same time. 2 years ago, we were even awarded an Emmy Award for the two products, StypeKit and RedSpy, which made significant contribution to the TV industry. After that,
Congratulations.
there was RedSpy.
Yep.
which was also quite innovative in a way that when it was released on the market, okay, there were also other projects. There were student projects from some universities which were experimenting with a similar technology, but it was the first time that someone made it to work so reliably and so well. For example, our LEDs were not even noticeable. The blink was so short that it was completely unobtrusive system, which simply worked, and the tracking was impeccable. Later on, we also created the follower system, which is the world's first motion capture system, which provided a camera tracking system which worked well. Because even today, there is no motion capture system which provides a solid camera tracking model. The follower is the only one. So if one wants to track a camera in, for example, in LED volume and wants to use motion capture system, yes, you can do it with other motion capture systems as well. But as soon as you add foreground graphics to this project, which requires very good camera tracking and not just camera position, then you will see that only follower can do it for motion capture systems. Of course, RedSpy can do it as well, but motion capture systems are the ones which have static cameras mounted around and markers tracking the camera. So among those motion capture systems, follower is the only one that can provide this. And then we continued innovations on our software side. For example, we started making a render engine based on Unreal Engine. And we had the idea how to, I knew what needed to be done to create the most advanced chroma key. There are companies doing something similar, and sometimes I gave them some ideas, but they ignored them. And so we decided to make it the way we want. I also have a great colleague, which is covering the programming side of it, which together we got another Emmy for this innovation, Stypeland. Stypeland is our software tool for Unreal, but we've developed the chroma key, which really surpassed what others can do, because it's a 3D difference-based chroma key which scans the environment, and then using some very smart algorithms can improve the edges of the person being keyed out, and can extract natural shadows from, and key out through transparent objects and all that. So that was the first thing that was the most impressive thing about Stypeland when it was released. And afterwards, we are now leading in the XR solutions. Like when you need photorealistic XR set, like LED volumes with set extensions, and to make the colors look perfect, and the edges between volume, set extensions, not noticeable. Our solution, which was employed on the world's biggest and most advanced broadcast studios like Fox Sports in LA and so on, our product is the way to go. It was by far the most advanced, by far most advanced software on the market for this purpose today. So that also was a big innovation on the market.
Great. Fantastic.
For example, when you have LED volumes and you have connections between them, it can automatically scan it, figure out how the color changes through this pipeline, and adjust it so that when there is a corner on the LED panels, so it looks so the viewer does not notice this corner. As the camera moves, it dynamically adjusts everything. It's the only solution on the market which can properly do it. that was also the project for which we were awarded a separate Emmy, me and Borna Vukorepa.
How many Emmys have you won so far? 3 or 2?
We won more than 5 or 6 Emmys, but most of them were for best technical team, as we were part on some projects. But those 2 that we won, like one for our camera tracking portfolio, was directly awarded to our company. It was the biggest acknowledgement of us as a company. That was 3 years ago, or 2.5. And that one for our XR solution, it was also, we were named as the inventors for this project, for the XR set for Fox.
Excellent. So, again, are you also compatible with other suppliers also? Let's say you take your tracker, or do you have to use your complete build solution? Can SIs integrate you with others?
Yes, so we can easily integrate with others. So our hardware camera tracking portfolio can integrate with any software manufacturer, right, who needs good camera tracking. So we are fully compatible there. And our software side is run as sort of like a standalone company. So it can also support any other camera tracking solution. So we are always compatible with other systems as well. Of course, it's the simplest, like in Apple ecosystem. If you use, sometimes clients prefer to have only one point of contact for all of for the complete studio. But if they already have camera tracking in their studio, they don't need to buy a new one, or if they already have some software and just need tracking, we are fully compatible with others as well.
Okay. And how was the Indian market reacting to your products? I mean, have you done many installations in India?
Yes, Indian market is one of our biggest markets where we are present. We have many installations, yes. Especially it was, after we got this job with Fox in Australia, then there was a lot of interest from India. There were Star Sports, Times Now, and there were many broadcasters in India that adopted our technology. And even for Stypeland now, there is a lot of interest, and
Yeah. So compared to, let's say, I just wanted to talk about zero density. I think zero density seems to be it's a lower grade product, if I may say so. Or it's compatible, or is it comparable, or because I see a lot more zero density installations.
Yeah. Okay. So we're compatible with zero density. Our hardware product line is compatible. Of course, the reason why zero density is more present, there are more installations of zero density, is because they were 4 years ahead with the software solution based on Unreal Engine. So while we were developing our RedSpy, they were developing the software. We did not intend to go in this software side of the market until a couple of years ago, but when we developed it, now, for example, if you compare our keyer with zero density keyer, you will notice, I noticed significantly better results with Green Killer and a lot of our clients. So even though they started earlier, now our technology, when we make something, it's we try to make it sort of like in a way that we do everything that we do. So we strive to make something that's best on the market, and we will continue to do so. And Typeland is getting more and more adopted and is gaining the market share quickly. So same like what you had with Internet Explorers. First, there was Internet Explorer, which was the first one, had the biggest market share, but then Chrome appeared and started gaining market share until it dominated the world.
All right. Okay. So in terms of India, how many installations do you have, and who's your biggest client, and what are they using it for?
Well, we have quite a lot of installations. I know at least Dorothea, you would know better the exact numbers and the biggest client.
Dorothy is your country specialist for India.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Until now, we have approximately 40 installations. Currently, the biggest client is Network 18, but we work with almost every broadcast and news center, also India News, Times Now, and pretty much all news stations.
Fantastic. So sports, there would be only Star Sports right now.
I believe Star Sports, yes.
Yep. So you'll have more clients coming your way. Viacom 18 is going to be, they've launched many channels. And then you've got Sony, which could be a customer going forward. All the best. Convert them.
Yes, Sony is. And also, that is just a broadcasting stream. We also work with many cinema and movie studios across the whole country.
Great. And how is the Indian market reacting to virtual production and all the solutions that are being offered? You said there are installations, but overall, especially for cinema, I think there's some reluctance because of cost. Especially the LED part is very, very expensive.
Yeah. Indian market quickly adopted the technology. Like while it was still emerging in Australia, which is known by adopting innovations quickly, and other parts of the world like UK and so on, I was surprised that India was also at the forefront. So they like to, you like to see the new technology, you like to adopt it, and somehow you make it work. There is some Indian word like for magic that's
Jugaad.
Jugaad, that like nothing works, and at the end somehow everything starts to work. There was when we do projects there, the organization is not the level that is different. Everything is done a bit differently, sometimes at the last moment, but there is this regard that helps.
Yeah, but do you see it becoming a hub for the world, a virtual production hub? Like Korea has a lot of great installation. America, there's a lot of
Yes.
installations, and in terms of, because the high investments required, you're looking at close to about anywhere between $3 to $5 million.
That's the specialty about the Indian market. The budgets are lower, so you always have to somehow think of ways to kind of deliver something for less. So that's the restriction. As you said, there are no big LED volume installations because that costs a lot, and it's it's mostly augmented reality, which is simpler, and then green screen sometimes. But that's the reality. The budgets are lower, but you don't lack the creativity or the willingness to exploit the technology.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. It's a very, very interesting insight you gave us. And in terms of where do you see Stype going from here, the company going from here? Innovations, I know, but where are the gaps which you think you need to fill?
As we continue from this moment on, we are in process of developing several other camera tracking products, which I cannot reveal a lot about, but as you notice that we are continue to enrich our camera tracking portfolio, we are continuing to do so as well. We are doing more on the robotics side as well, like when we made StypeKit, and so. And Stypeland is a big driver of growth as well, because it's getting better and better. Some bits and pieces that we were still, you mentioned some other softwares as well. But so as we started later, whatever we make whichever part of Stypeland is made, it's made in a way that it's best on the market, like it's really solid. But were some still bits and pieces that we were missing. Recently, we introduced a playlist-based system for Stypeland, which is also integrated with newsroom control systems by MOS protocol. So that's the new thing. Those were some bits and pieces that we were missing, and then still some features. I expect this year, and we already have clients, TV stations using it for their workflow, so that's a big change from software that was mostly there for augmented reality shots and green screens and so on. Now it's more like a solution that can be integrated with Octopus or Everyday News and be used as a main software tool for a station. So they're sort of like to be able to offer a full portfolio of what the TV station needs. That's the direction of Stype.
Fantastic. So, no, but you got products like generative AI products like Sora coming out, which are absolutely, they're so lifelike and real. How do you think that's going to impact the augmented reality kind of products that you deliver? Because, or is that going to benefit you, or is that going to be, you're using Unreal already, but you'll have, a lot of motion happening thanks to Sora now, rather than static. You do have motion even using earlier products, but this is real lifelike. So how do you see this impacting a company such as yours?
So with Sora coming out and OpenAI, I see a great room for improvements for example, when you want to make a virtual show, the hardware and the software are only a part of it. The biggest investment sometimes is to create those virtual environments, because it requires a lot of work to virtual architects, the designers, and all that to create virtual, characters. So with AI, there's a great room for improvements for cost cutting on that, because AI can be used to create all those little things in your environment, which would take enormous amount of time, and it can be that part of the story for content creation. It can really be highly beneficial.
So you see it benefiting more than taking away.
Yeah. Yes. It will drive the adoption of virtual production to it will accelerate it.
Okay, and how are you using AI within your company itself to improve your products, and also machine learning?
Okay, so we are exploring the use of AI and machine learning in our products. For real-time products, it's not really that suitable, because real-time's being very fast. But while AI is not that quick, if we want to deliver real-time camera tracking. But for some other purposes, we do explore it. And for example, we explore it in some ways for our Stypeland product. And so we will have some use for it. It will, for the next generation of the products, it's definitely going to have something to do with AI as well.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Stype. And thank you, Dorothy, for fixing this up. And look forward to being in touch with you and catching up with you with some other market. The amount of information you gave out, it must seem like, you've gone through it. It takes a lifetime to create something like you created. And thank you for doing that for the industry. Look forward to being in touch again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.